Alright, second time live today, but I'm not really worried about it. So, what I was talking about in my little video earlier today, while I was walking around doing the little update, was this. Hey, what's going on, wet sleeves? This is that little project I was talking about earlier. It is going to be a CO2 manifold that I'm building myself, making this whole thing. I work in a machine shop, so I have, a little bit of access to some machines. I bought a whole bunch of needle valves. Usually you would find these sticking out of the side of a solenoid, like this. This goes here. The bubble counter goes on top. Bam. But you could buy these as replacements. So what I did is I bought a bunch of them. This is only part of them. Here is the rest of them. I found some little blocks of aluminum. This actually started off as one block. I cut it in half, squared up all the edges, did some measurements. There is still a little bit of remnants here. 0.703 to the center that way. And then, as you can see here, it's 450 in from the side on center to the hole, and then 1 inch, 152 thousandths between each hole. I don't have two hands to do this well, but I had to go with these dimensions so that when I screw these on, this was the hardest part to figure out. I had to do the math to figure out when this swings so it wouldn't hit this, but it would still be, relatively as close as possible. So these screw in. They will all be facing the same direction when it's done. I have these little fittings are going to go into the end here, and then I'm going to use this PVC tubing. It's flexible, as you can see. I have to get another one of these also, and it's going to go into here and replace this because these have the same threads. It'll replace that, and then the hose will go into here, and then there's going to be 12 of these needle valves in each one of these blocks, one for each rack over there. So I will have my CO2 manifold, my DIY CO2 manifold. Let's check out the chat. That's totally awesome. How many tanks are you planning on running off that? Yep, it'll be 12 tanks per one of these blocks. That was really all I could fit onto here, unless I found something longer. But also, I don't necessarily have many more tanks that I plan on running off of CO2 besides the 75. That's gonna keep its own tank. It'll be this 10-pound actually. The 20-pound that's on there now is gonna go to one of these. The other 20-pound that's over, you could sell that. Very professional indeed. Just remember the plumber's tape. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna, instead of using the plumber's tape, they have like I want to call it an RVT silicone type deal, but that's not what it is. It's like a paste tape type stuff, and it goes onto the threads, and when you screw it in, it dries, and it actually does a little bit better than the tape, from what I'm told. I haven't personally used it yet, but the guy at work that was suggesting it is, he says it works great. Hey, what's going on, Dank? What's happening, man? Check this out. You seen that? It's gonna be pretty dope when it's done. And then when it's done, also I do have to drill some holes. I'll go here and here, and then here and here, or maybe I'll just, no, I can't just do one in the middle because I'll hit that. So I'll go, you know, 2 holes there, 2 holes there, and then I'll be able to screw it right into something, I don't know, just to keep it up above the water level, so that I don't get any back siphoning in. I'm not going to be running check valves on it, so that's another part of getting it up over the water line. There is not going to be bubble counters on all of these. There's not going to be bubble counters on any of them, as a matter of fact. I'm just going to do the old turn it on real slow, and then just turn it up little bit until I find a good spot for it. So it might take me a month to get it dialed in right, but you know, I'm not super worried about it, quite honestly. The plants I have in there aren't very demanding right now anyway, but eventually I would like to start getting into some more advanced plants. If I was in the States, I would pay good money for those. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be able to make these. The only problem is these are $10 a piece. So that's $120 for just the needle valves for this alone, never mind whatever buying the stock would cost, and then the time in electricity and labor that is also associated with building it. It's not very difficult to do. It's not very time consuming, and personally I think the hardest part originally was doing the math to get the holes evenly spaced down the side. But the second hardest part from that was drilling this hole through the center so that it goes all the way down without using any oil. And I drilled all of this, and I'm tapping it all without any oil. Hey, that's a good idea. Look in AliExpress. You get the same valves for pennies. I didn't even think about that originally, but I totally forgot that website existed, honestly, because it's not really a super huge thing here in the States. We have eBay and Amazon and Craigslist and things like that. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm doing all of this without oil. I don't want any residual oil in here, because if there is, once this all gets pressurized, that oil is going to need a place to go, and that means coming out of here and then going into the tank. I just don't want to be dealing with that. It could cause, you know, some pretty severe issues. So, you know, this is all being done a little bit slower than anything else would be, even though it is aluminum. But it's, you know, like I said, once those chips get all bound up in there and they start heating up, it could cause some pretty serious issues. And I almost had some problems with the tap while I was threading these, because it is aluminum. It's a very soft material. It is prone to problems. I think this was the one. Yep, it was this one. The first couple of threads are real janky, but that's what it's going to look like, sort of. Just, you know, identical on this side. This side doesn't have any threads in it yet. Work has started to pick up. We're on to 10-hour days now. Every day, every day during the week, we're on to 10-hour days. Half days on Saturday is going to be the occasional half day on Sunday. So my time for working on this project is severely limited, and it's just going to get done when it gets done at this point. Looks better than any of the manifolds you can get online. You know, I could sort of agree with that, mainly because you could only buy them up to 6, but then they come in that weird circle pattern. Not a big fan of that, but you know, from a cost saving point of view, I could see it, I suppose. But again, like I said, you know, this would be pretty expensive if I was going to start, you know, building them and producing them. Something like this I would probably have to sell for, to cover all my costs and make a little something, probably $275 before shipping. I'd still have to charge shipping, so you know, it's not really economically viable unless I could find these for cheaper. So I will I'll check out AliExpress, maybe I can, and just slap an ADA stamp on there and you're good. You know what? It's not a bad idea. I could actually put oh no, what did I do with my stickers? I can't find them. I have a bunch of UNS stickers, which are just as good, and they're pretty small. They would fit right on here really well. So I think I'm gonna find those stickers, and then I'll post a picture on Instagram. So that'll be hilarious. But anyway, I just wanted to share this little project, and this is, you know, one of the many factors and many things that needs to get done besides the wall and door here for the fish room to be complete. I do still have to buy lights for the whole rack over there, which we'll get one of these. Hey Gene, you missed the beginning. How much were the needle valves? These needle valves are $10 a piece, and I think I have 22 of them at the moment. And I did find them from different places, thinking that, you know, one was going to be cheaper than the other, and maybe depending on which one I liked the best. See if I could get, yeah. So we have ones here with that style top, just this print on the top, and then this one here I like the best. I forgot which place I got this from though. Maybe it was Wish. But they all ended up being between $9 and $10 a piece. So, you know, I got as many as I could. I still have a couple left to go. But, you know, that's just part of wanting to grow a lot of plants in a lot of different tanks. So, just added expense, but that's okay, you know? You can't do stuff without spending money, right? So anyway, like I was saying, I just wanted to share this little project with you, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I came up with the idea one day. I was thinking about, you know, how am I gonna get the CO2 to all of these tanks? You know, I got 24 tanks that need it, and looking online, you could only buy the 6-way splitters, and they're like $60 a piece or something. So I said, well, I'm not gonna buy, you know, 4 CO2 tanks just for the 2 racks and then have to buy 4 of those splitters. So let's just make 2 of them, because I could do that. I have the skills. It's a very simple project. You know, with a little bit of instruction, anybody could do it. It's really easy. Yeah, so that's that. I just wanted to share that with you. It's been a, yeah, they will last a lifetime, that's for sure. At least I hope so anyway. Yep, yeah, just wanted to share this great little project I'm doing with you. Maybe it could inspire you to go out and use your specific skill set with whatever. Oh, hey Dan, what's going on, man? It's been a long time since I've talked to you. I've been super busy, which is terrible because, you know, we were talking a lot. Question you may know by now. If you convert immersed grown plants to submerged, do bigger plants or smaller plants convert faster? And Dan just got back from Portugal. Oh, nice. That's awesome. So my experience with converting immersed to submerged plants is the bigger ones tend to do better. I wouldn't quite say that the smaller ones convert faster, because typically the smaller ones die on me. They just always die on me for some reason. So I like going with the larger ones. It gives the roots more time to like grow down and start to convert themselves, and then it gives, you know, the plant the time to start growing that submerged growth before the whole thing dies. That's been my observation. I can't say you know, rock solid that's, you know, fact though. Well, almost, Dan. I have all the holes in. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Well, I have all the holes in, and I have this one side tapped. I suppose I could, I have the tap at home here with me. I suppose I could try. I may be considering doing some plants next year. I want to see if I could do it that way. Actually, I have a bunch of reptile-only tanks that I got for free from the LFS sitting out back, and that's going to be part of a little project I'm going to try to fit in here somewhere. I have this timer, and oh, I got this tubing. And I got a bunch of these little sprayers I'm going to put in line, you know, like into each tank to mist it, to keep the plants like, what's that word? Wet? Not moist. Oh, God, I hate that word. Just to keep them wet so that while they're growing, you know, keep the humidity up. They'll be growing immersed, but they'll be wet all the time. So I'm going to try that out. And, you know, maybe it'll spark you to do I don't know, something a little bit different with it, and give you a good direction to go. You're going to need a clone soon. I could definitely hire somebody for help if I had the money, but like I was saying, Dan, I have this tap, which pipe threads are odd because normal threads go straight, pipe taps have an angle on them. So I had to measure on here what the width was of those threads and measure it here. I could tap these at home, but I don't have a way to get it started straight, because if it goes in a little sideways like this, you know, that's quite exaggerated, but if it goes in a little bit sideways, the whole thing will sit sideways, and then it might not seal right. I'll get a lot of leaks. So, you know, it's a work in progress. Palletarium style, yeah, sort of like that. Definitely post some build guides. Not seen guides for these things yet. Yeah, I would have loved to, you know, film doing all of this. Unfortunately, I had to do it in my spare 5 minutes here and there at work. So am I a machinist by trade? Yes, I am. I went to high school for it. This is my second job in a machine shop. You know, every day I'm learning something new. I can't tell you how many things I've learned this week alone. It's you know, something you never stop learning. My lead man, even, he's been machining for 40 years, and he's still learning something new almost every day. But I would have loved to have took videos of doing this and, you know, drilling all the holes and laying it out and measuring and explaining it. I couldn't do it at work, you know. But what I can do is I could like do a couple of drawings and you know, kind of like fake drilling some holes. I have this drill, which is what I drilled these holes with. So there's ways I could explain it, you know, a little step-by-step guide, if you will. It's just not the full experience. That would be great. Rebuilding a mini 40s lathe at the moment. That's awesome. Is it there's so many different companies, but the one that really sticks out in my mind is the Hardinge, and those lathes are awesome when they're in really good conditions. They're super accurate. They could hold it down to a half a thou, you know, like 5/10 thousandths of an inch. And for reference, a human hair is 3 thousandths of an inch, so 5/10 thousandths of an inch is like 6 times smaller than a human hair. It's awesome. Anything would be good. It's a very cool project. Thanks, man. I have many skills but rarely get paid for them. Yeah, I don't have too many skills, and you know, one of the decent ones. Hi, Frank. What's going on, man? One of the decent skills I do have is unfortunately a little bit expensive to put here in the basement, but I've been looking at some mini desktop lathe and milling machines. So we'll see what happens there. A lot of those little ones are not good for much. They probably would struggle with the size of drill I was using here even. So maybe I could find a decent, like, mid-size used one, and you know, once all this is out of the way, this table is going there, but maybe I could put them like here, kind of next to the stairs. But those are dreams for a different day. So, oh no, so many great people here. Look at all of these wonderful names. I'm loving it. All right, 23 minutes. Just a few feet long. Yeah, that's I like those ones. And the lathe. Oh, Dan. Oh, you so funny. Gene, I'm a librarian. My mad research skills don't help me much in the fish room, but if you need a peer-reviewed journal article on BBA, I could find it no problem. There's actually a lot of reading material I've been looking for recently. And honestly, research skills for the fish room, I mean, that's how I got 90% of my knowledge, is just going and finding stuff, reading it, you know, watching videos. It's all in the research, actually, the way that I see it. I mean, I do definitely think experience is half of it, but the research definitely plays a huge role. Can I see your planted tanks? Yeah, you know what? We'll take a trip over to the tanks real quick. But yeah, definitely go check out some of those older videos. And we're gonna start down here with this one because it's not technically planted. It's just a bunch of algae. But it's cool algae because this algae is producing so much oxygen, the entire mass of it is floating. And I've taken my tongs and like swirled it around a little bit. All the bubbles come out, and then it floats back down to the bottom. And then a few weeks later, look at that bubble there. it builds up so much oxygen in it, just like you see here. It just floats. It's like a floating island of algae, and I love it. Now another thing is this right here, this little speck. You're not going to believe this, but that's a baby shrimp. These shrimp produce babies in larval form, and they float around in the water for I don't know, about 4 weeks maybe, and then they become benthic. Hey, Chevy Smith, what's going on, man? So what that means is they go from the larval form down to, you know, regular old shrimps. There was just one sitting over here on this rock. Dang it. Oh, the first converted mini shrimp. And I can't focus on it, but there it is. Oh man, I have some really cool macro pictures of these that I posted up onto Instagram. I haven't gotten through all of them yet, but they're these are really awesome little shrimps. And if you guys remember a week or two ago, maybe 3, I don't know, I've lost track of time recently, but Jimmy from the Aquarium Co-op went to Hawaii, and these shrimps are native to Hawaii from the ankyline pools, which are, so if this was an ankyline pool, there would be like the ocean on one side, and then like a volcano or something over here, like a hill or something, and the water, the fresh water, when it rains, would flow down into this little pool and cavern type deal, and then there would be a bunch of lava rocks. Yes, the Ophiula, the super shrimps, if you will. And then salt water would work its way through the rocks and mix in together, and it becomes this brackish water pool where the salinities vary wildly, the temperatures vary wildly, and these shrimps are like the main food source in these pools for, you know, larger shrimps, birds, all kinds of stuff. And here you see a saddled female. There was like 3 buried females in here at one point, but I think they've released all of their eggs, and that's why I have so many little babies floating around. There are a couple of snails in here too. I don't know. They really like to burrow down into the substrate though. Alright, let's see what this chat is. Very interesting indeed. Yes. These are actually my... Yes. These are my... I was just about to get there. They are very, very easy to keep. You don't have to feed them, which seems ridiculous, but because they are so tiny, they literally live off the biofilm and that grows on everything in the tank. You don't have to do water changes, again, because they're like, okay, I'm not going to say you don't have to do a water change. You have to do 1 water change per year. Their bioload is so small because the shrimp are so small and all they eat is the biofilm. Really, the only reason you have to do the water change is that so the algae, as it's sucking the nutrients out of the water, you know, you just replace those nutrients. All you have to do really is top them off. You know, you top them off with RO water because there is salt in here. You don't want to use salt water or tap water. You pretty much have to use have to use RO water or distilled water. Some people use even. They're great for jars or, you know, containers, 1 gallon, or some people even do them in less than 1 gallon, but then you start getting down to like, you can only have 10 shrimp in there. In this 20 long, I could probably fit 400 shrimp in this tank at like 75% capacity. I could probably get 500 in here, no problem. There's actually a website I could post the link for, maybe down in the description after the video has been uploaded, if I remember, of where I learned about these shrimps and where I got my first 10. I started with 10 2 years ago. Now I have this tank. I have a 40-gallon tank at my mom's that has, I don't know, probably 300 in there, and they're doing fantastic. Once they start breeding, you just can't stop them. Just super easy, super fun to watch. I can't tell you how long I just lay here and just watch these guys sometimes. Not really a big shrimp person, but more and more I'm starting to like them. They're awesome. They're just, I don't know, they're just super interesting to watch. A shrimp 180. Ah, how fantastic. I came across a 120 at the LFS today for sale, $400, tank and stand. And honestly, I think if I got it, this is what I would do with it. I would put these shrimp in it and just leave it alone. Just not do anything. Also, these shrimp are very poor swimmers, so you can't really put a filter on the tank. If you could see back here, I have this sponge filter. It's running super low. You could just barely make out the top of the surface moving. But since they're super weak swimmers, you can't really put anything in there. It'll blow them around too much. And they don't like it. They'll just hide constantly, and you'll never see them. But I could do definitely much more in-depth, sole video on this one day. Found a red in the outlet for my filter just today, first time. Oh, nice. Well, I don't know if that's really a good thing or a bad thing. And then up here we have the Betta Tank. It's doing all right. Little guy's still kicking it, Look at him swimming around. Fed him a little earlier today. Oh, it's a bad thing. I'm sorry to hear that, Dan. I got that sponge going back there for him. Got that little heater and some little dragon stones and a Nubius. All of these rocks used to have Java moss, the Java moss that's over there in that rack. But it ended up with this huge algae outbreak, so I took it off. There's a few pieces stuck here, as you could see. I'm just gonna let that regrow. A little bit of boost. Yeah, I love this guy. I wish the glass was clean. I should have cleaned the glass. I love this little guy though. Definitely my favorite. And actually, I was looking for an all white one because I painted the background all white. Or black, I mean. I wanted a solid white one. Yes, I believe he is a Dumbo ear. I'm not super huge into all the different styles and names. I get so lost in it because there's so many different kinds. But when I bought him, there was a almost all white one. Oh look, the lights just changed. There was almost an all white one, and I almost got him, but I saw this guy instead, and I said, wow, that blue is stunning. So there he is. Like I say, he's doing all right. He enjoys it. All right. So over here for what sleeves, I believe was asking, right? This is the main display, the 75. Had a white red double tail half moon a week ago. Yeah, see, a lot of people could probably picture that in their heads. I can't do it because there's 4 names there, and I don't know. I'm a very simple man. So over here we got some Ludwigia Super Red, I want to say. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't know if you could see it, but oh yeah, there's a good, the bottom of the leaves are like ridiculously red, so probably good to say that it's super red. My Kamaka rainbows that are camera hogs. Every time I pull the camera out, they're just right there. It's my Pristella tetras. I love these little guys. Depends on what the fish store calls it most of the time. You're not wrong, Dan. That is 100% right. A lot of their stuff they order from UNS now, so I guess it's just whatever UNS calls them, because they show me, sometimes they show me the list when it comes in, you know, without the prices. But do you still have the penguin tetras? No, unfortunately, Candy, I don't. I did a water change one day and all of them just started dying one by one, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. No other fish was affected by it. I think maybe one of the Pristella tetras like 2 days afterwards, but I couldn't figure it out. You know, all of the rainbows were fine, all of the cories were fine, you know, the shrimp were fine, the autos, wherever they are, there's 4 of them in here, they were fine. So it was really just mind-blowing to have, you know, 7 penguin tetras just die all within the span of a day. Yeah, Chevy Smith, I'm pretty much broke because the LFS is a mile in that direction. It's 1.1 miles, I believe, in that direction. I can walk there if I wanted to, but then if I bought some fish, they might get a little warm by the time I got back. But yeah, it's kind of dangerous because I got both of these racks, you know, these 12 tank racks I got from the LFS. All of these 33s behind me I got from the LFS. I've spent a lot of money in there. Got 2 different kinds of Rotala over here. I tried to separate them, but the way that they were in the bucket, when I was moving everything, it was really difficult to separate them out. Just, you know, I had very poor light over here, and you know, for right now there's no light overhead, and when I was doing it, it was a little dark. It got kind of difficult, but I got them mostly grouped together. As you could see, I have a main group here and like a main group here, and then I just kind of shoved other little bits around. And I don't even know how many different kinds of crypts I have, but I think this one here is my favorite right now. Although this one over here is really awesome. The leaves are starting to get a little bit crinkly. They get ratty after about 6 months. Cut the tops, pull out the old stems, replace the tops. Well, actually what I'm going to be doing is cutting the tops, and I'll take them down to the store for some credit. So I'll bring the good stuff into them, and then once I cut the tops, new stuff is going to grow that's going to look good too. I wonder, I think it's been too long since I trimmed these in order to find a good spot. Well, I guess you could kind of see it here. You know, you cut there, it'll grow the node down, and then sometimes 2 come out, sometimes 1 comes out. I don't know. One of my favorite things about plants is actually the propagation of them. So, you know, I'll cut them all right across to one height, and then I'll plant them all around, and then ones that are like still super tall, I'll trim those again, and then I'll plant those around. So sometimes that's why I end up with like short stubby ones like this, and then, you know, while I have some that, so those are planted at the back, and I think, oh no, that's this big one right in front here. I was gonna say, I think that one is super long. So I do have some trimming to do in here. All right, now over here we have two other planted tanks. There's the Jerk Dempsey. I love that little guy though. He's kind of cool. This is my first foray into cichlids. Oh no, I got a low battery warning. And then I got a fire mouth over here too. Oh, whoops. Got a fire mouth over here. Oh no, I got 9% battery. We'll have to make this quick. I'm gonna turn my brightness down. All right, so in this tank, we have Java ferns. We have dwarf sage. This is like mini pearlweed or something. This is hornwort, and I don't know if you could see that, but it's purling. This, what's that? That's I don't know if you could see that. This is yeah, you can kind of see it. This dwarf sage is purling. Awesome. All of this. There's guppies in there. So this is a 33 long. Over here, there was a whole bunch of dwarf hairgrass, and then it just kind of like floated away. It's in here though. I just have to get in there and replant it. You can see there's like a little bit here. It really didn't do well. It started dying a lot. Wow, look at that Java fern purling. I've never seen Java fern that purled up before. That's kind of cool. And there is a little bit of boost in here. There's a piece there that fell off the rock. I gotta trim a little bit of this out, I think. I'll take that down to the store for some credit. Alternatives to guppy grass, maybe could get a box store. Alternative to guppy grass you could get at a box store. Honestly, I can't tell you the last time I set foot into a big box store. Not off the top of my head. No, sorry. I don't know, maybe they have some hornwort, but that's also really cheap to get online. Sometimes people even give it away because it grows so fast. I know once it starts taking off on me, I'll be giving some away. Alright. And then down here I got some more rotalas that need to be trimmed, as you could tell by the curl. Some boost. This is called River Buttercup. Again, something else slowly dying on me, but I think that's part of the conversion. It was a what's the little cup ones here? Here's the little cup. Tissue culture. River Buttercup. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Ultim Nature Systems. And also in here, oh, this was the dwarf hairgrass that I had planted, which seems to be doing okay in this tank. I got a bunch of crypt parva going on in here. Back here I have some more of that Ludwigia. That might be a different color variation though. Some more of this Bacopa, I believe that is. A different crypt. I don't know. I kind of got a lot of crypts. I forgot all the names of them though. I do know this one's the crypt parva though. It's really awesome. You got a cherry shrimp right there. There's two of them in here. Oh, there's the other one. I used to have 4, but then 2 of them died, and you know, now I got 2 of them. Bunch of snails. And where is he? There he is, my mystery fry. Now I have no idea where this guy came from. because he just literally just showed up one day. He is a lamp eye killie, and you might say, well, maybe there was some eggs scattered onto some plants that you bought, but I didn't buy any plants within the week that he showed up. And oh, maybe I did, I don't know. I'd have to go like look back in those videos, but there were no killifish in any of the planted tanks at the store. So he is my mystery fry. I'm super, super excited that he's still alive and kicking. I love this little guy with all of my heart, and I will do everything I can to make sure he lives the most happy and healthy and exciting life that any fish possibly can. Wow, look at the tips of that rotala, coloring up. I'm loving it. Wow. I guess I kind of need to do a little something different about these lights too. I thought they were going to be awesome, but you know, they're all right. I'm not gonna push them as hard as I used to. They're decent. And then obviously I have the ever elusive or ever not elusive tank herpes. Gross. Most of it I just whenever I scoop it out, I just throw it over here. These lights are Haiger lights. You can find them on Amazon. They are about 30 bucks a piece, I think, for this size. There's also one size bigger that I think is like $45 or something. But they're all right. I mean, they are what has been growing this. They're the reason that these plants are pearling and whatnot. They're keeping some of the higher light plants alive, but they're not thriving. Oh, there's my little UNS stickers. Look at those. Who wants some stickers? I got stickers for days.